Oh, I didn't post in Discord that we're live. Oops.
Got it on the old Twitch. Or do I? It says we're live, but it's blacked out. There we go. Okay, there we are.
Yeah, it takes a
And I
second.
see
That's
us
on.
on YouTube's.
And there we are on Twitch. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube.
We're only a little late.
Yeah, it's
We're
not so
happy.
bad. It's pretty good. Wow, I fixed my camera, but now it's cutting off the top of my big head. I have to like slouch down. That's great.
It's bad for your back. Don't do that.
That's true. Yeah, I do that naturally though, where I'm like leaning into the mic and I'm trying not to. Probably driving people nuts right about now. All right. Okay. Wolf, whenever you're ready.
All right. In the year 2025.
Today on. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Press Me to Cancel, your favorite retro gaming podcast. Maybe not this week. This week, we're talking about our favorite picks, the games to look forward to, games we're psyched and hyped for that are coming out in 2025. At least we hope they do come out in 2025. We'll see.
Yeah.
There's a few we'll talk about. But
I'm
I'm
looking
not
at
alone.
you, Metal Gear Delta.
That's nothing. Silk Song says hi to Metal Gear Delta. Those games aren't going to release until 2035. Not alone. I'm joined by two good friends to talk about the games of next year. Chard, how you doing this week?
I'm excited about this episode. There's a lot of stuff that I was not thinking about until you put the list in front of our faces, and I went, oh, my wife is not excited, but I'm excited.
No, it's. I'm going to say I thought 2023 was going to be a packed year, and it was. I thought 2024 might be pretty decent, and it was stellar year, and it just looks like 2025 also going to be a banger of a year. But also we got Wolf. Wolf, how you doing this week?
I'm doing all right. My selection is going to be looking a little forward and a little back. So somewhat retro. It
least
qualifies.
somebody's
Some of the
retro.
ones on your list. And I was like, good. I knew Wolf was going to come through and pick those ones because I felt bad not picking them.
No, it's me and Chard who are going to pick the modern ones because we just got that FOMO disease we can't shake, and I don't anticipate anything different in next year. Okay, so I guess we'll get right into it. We are talking about games that are coming out next year. I got some trailers that the guys have provided. I'll try and pull them up as we talk about them, and there's a lot coming out next year, more than I thought, and that's with like the Switch 2, for example, not even officially announced yet. Like this is just games coming out for PC, Xbox, PlayStation. It's a wild list. Who wants to start? Chard, do you want to start first?
Sure, I'll go for it. That's fine. Well, I'm going to start out with one that is not technically next year, but it's close enough to be next year. It actually comes out next month, but it's right on the cusp. And I'm really freaking excited about this. I really wanted to talk about this game because it's unique in the fact that it is a VR game that's coming out. This is strictly for VR only. And it's in a universe that has had hit and misses throughout the gaming environment. But from the looks of this one, it's very much on the cusp of the last good installment for the video. Well, I guess it's not the last one, is it? Because there's been like 3 since then.
There's always more room for one more.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like Thanksgiving dinner, and there's just enough room for just enough of everything. This one, we're going to talk about Alien Rogue Incursion. Alien Rogue Incursion is basically a survivor horror type game, which you all know that's my jam. But this one takes place solely in virtual reality. This is a VR game, so you put on the helmet, you get face hugged, you get chased around, and you get to fight off aliens in a VR environment. And there's nothing more exciting and thrilling than to me as to be on a 1979 designed set of a sort of Nostromo. It's not the Nostromo, but you get what I'm saying, like a ship of that look,
Right.
and trying to survive yourself against a horde of aliens. Now you do have you do pack heat, you do have some weaponry, and it's not like Alien Isolation where you can hide in lockers. But to me, this seems like a really, really cool concept and a really fun thing. And I like to scare the hell out of myself. So this seems like the perfect opportunity to do so. So we'll be seeing that. We'll be seeing that at the beginning of December. I think it comes out December 9th, which is pretty early on in the year. So, or the month. So that's going to be sick.
Wait, is that December this year or December next year?
Yeah, I
This
said
year.
it was going to be, it's close to the next year, but it's not quite next year.
You know what? It's after the Video Game Awards cutoff. I'll allow it.
Thank you. I did discuss this in MPs, but again, Jake
You
doesn't
did.
listen to me, so that's
Dude,
fine.
No.
Do we just flagrant disregard for the rules? 2025 episode. Let's talk about games end of the year. That's fine. That's fine. It's okay.
This is an honorable mention for 2025. How's that sound?
Sure. Okay.
In the Venn diagram of GP's mind, it's an honorable mention.
It's a hidden gem as well as a game coming out next year.
Very much.
All in one.
I'm excited for it. I need more Alien VR games. I think that's going to be a trip. That's going to be real rough.
I just want more good Aliens games. Right? It's a franchise that's fantastic. I just want it to be good in games. Alien Isolation was fantastic, terrifying, but it's fantastic. But yeah, you're right. When it's been hit or miss, mostly misses, I think, over the years. So I'm hoping this one is good. Getting face hugged in VR is not something I want to do, but it looks cool. I'd gladly watch you go through that pain, but that's fun.
And you will, because I'm sure I'll play.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that looks interesting to me, but I don't know that I could do that in VR. It was bad enough doing it on a monitor.
You're not wrong. It is going to be a totally different ball game. There's something about VR, knowing that it's fake, but still feeling like I played Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and that game has a silence to it as you're creeping around town that it is stressful to turn around and see a digital zombie in your face trying to get you that wasn't there like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It really messes with the whole sensory perception thing, and the idea of hearing the hissing and the sounds we hear in Alien Isolation, but in my ears with the mask on. Oh, it just sounds like a thrill ride.
With VR, it heavily revolves around the sound design, right? Like assuming they get the sound design right, like Alien Isolation did, where you hear the humming and whirring of the ship, and then you hear the skittering and all that. Oh no.
That's what I'm hoping, is that they'll drop you they're not going to throw any background music or anything, unless it's like the panic violin or something that you hear, just real quick snippet of it, and then they throw you into the shit, and it's just you breathing and you walking around. It's part of the reason why I've liked so many of the more recent, even the remakes that have come out. They don't throw anything in there except your surroundings, instead of having some kind of music, unless it's fitting. And it seems like they're really nailing it with the sound design these days.
You know what I want to see for that? I want to see the motion detector that they have in the movies. Because you're in VR, I want the idea of like looking at your hand, the motion detector, hearing that beep, motion beep, and then panically looking around the hallway you're in for where the alien is. That will be, like you said, very immersive for sure.
They have it. There's a video of you having a gun in one hand and the motion sensor in the other, looking at looking around for stuff, and it's beeping, and you see the little dots starting to multiply. It seems cool. Again, Alien always seems like a cool subject to make some kind of horror survivor game out of, which is Alien Isolation, which is coming out in 2 years. We'll talk about that when we talk about games wait for in 2026. But they always they overdo it with the alien marine aspect, where it's just guns flying, and it just takes away from the whole. Now, don't get me wrong, Aliens is a great movie, but it's just not what I look for in my games. I want to be stressed out and not, I'll take a flamethrower and just burn the shit out of everything. So I'm hoping this doesn't go in that direction.
Playing an Alien game, you want Alien 1, not Alien 2, right? You want the scare, you want the tension. You don't want to just go in guns blazing and if somebody's done, they're done. It's
That's exactly
I get that.
Like the best characters in Aliens was never the Marines, really. I mean, I like Aliens too, but it's always been Ripley, right? It's always like the would be scientist that gets ambushed. It's the average person, the fear of the average person fighting against the aliens is the fun part. So I'm with you there. Yeah. Like even the newer ones, it's not really about the Marines, I don't believe, right? Like Prometheus and stuff has,
Nope.
bodyguards, but it's mostly scientists and researchers that are kind of
Well, even
thrust
the
into a scary
bodyguards got
situation.
taken out like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then you had to deal with the
Yeah.
scientists. So
Yeah.
it was like,
So
no one is safe. It's a really cool concept, especially to throw that in virtual reality would be something I've been looking forward to. I've been trying to find mods for Alien Isolation in VR, and I just hear it's clunky and broken. So
yeah.
actually having a game intended to do that makes me like, let's freaking go. All about
Also,
it.
I also feel like VR is not. I was hoping it would have hit its stride by now. Like, there's not very many must-have VR games, right? Like,
Mhm.
you could probably count on one hand the games that are must-play experiences, and Steam is probably the best place to play VR games at the moment, I think. And
Yep,
I'm glad to
I
see at
agree.
least one good release or what appears to be a good release for VR next year. I think last year
Yeah.
the only one I liked was Tetris Effect, and I don't even think that was last year. That might have been 2023. So I'm
It's in
looking forward to
VR.
dusting off my headset to try something new next year. Hopefully it's not just scary stuff.
Join me in Aliens.
God, it's just shit your pants simulator for me. No, I'm good. All right,
That's why we have a
that's a good
bucket in the
one.
room.
That's a good one for 2024-ish, 2025. Wolf, how about you? What do you got?
1988, 86.
All
Yeah,
right. The
that's
one
it.
I've been looking forward to the longest is Mariachi Legends.
Me too.
Oh, okay.
That's one that
And
I'm looking at too.
this is a Metroidvania put together by an indie studio. I think it's the same studio that did Nine Souls, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a game I want too. I didn't know they
And
were part of that. That's sick.
I feel like this is the case, if I'm not mistaken. But
I'll check my mind palace
yeah,
while you talk.
apparently the game is made by I don't know if it's a Mexican studio, but definitely a Latin American studio. And so the game will actually have an option to where like all the dialogue is in Spanish,
Okay.
which is really cool. So it's like going hard on the Mexican culture and immersion and everything. And then not only is it just like you're a detective, but also apparently you can turn into like this mariachi hero. But then there's break points where you do cooking. So there's like a cooking mini game.
As all good games have. It's cooking.
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
oh man, the setting to this looks super cool. The acting sounds top notch in the trailers. And then I gotta say, like the way they try and portray it, that like it sounds a little like a telenovela, and I love that.
Okay. There's been like an uptick, and a game that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit with the throwing in the live action with the retro look, like cutscenes. It seems like it's funny that because again, there's going to be one that I talk about here a little bit that has a similar setup, but I really like the addition of making it look retro and then throwing in the live action videos of the people in it. It just kind of adds a whole nother level to it. This game, Mariachi Legend, looks really cool. I
Yeah,
think you
and I
mentioned it
don't
not too long ago, and I was digging around for it.
yeah, I don't know if it's gonna have live action cutscenes actually in the game or if that's just for the trailer.
Just a trailer thing.
I won't be upset either way.
Mm.
But I mean, it seems really cool. Like I'm with you. Like that's a good way to sell it and sort of lend the credence to it and put like give some production value to the trailer instead
Mhm.
of just having an animated trailer. They went for the live action shots, and it sort of connects you a little bit to the characters in that way, I think. But I'm really excited about this. The music in this game, just what I've heard from the trailers, sounds awesome. I am all in on this because it's like heavy Dia de los Muertos theme, and I'm all
Mm.
about that.
Yeah.
That's
So this is the studio that did I just looked it up. 9 Years of Shadow. They've done a
that's
few
the
other
one.
ones, I think, as well. Yeah, and 9 Years of Shadow. I actually played that last year. Not a very long game, but a pretty solid Metroidvania. And the big standout for that one was the music was great, and the pixel art, like top notch. Like some of the best pixel
Nice.
art I've seen on Steam in terms of games. And Mariachi Legend looks even better than 9 Years of Shadow, and it looks like they've kind of chosen a theme and kind of gone into it really deep. So I'm excited for this one as well. If it's anything like 9 Years of Shadow, I'm all in. Like it's really great. I'm a sucker for pixel art in the modern age, especially when it looks like this. Like this looks like Symphony of the Night level of pixel art, but a lot more fluid, a lot more frames of animation, a lot more effects.
Yeah.
And just like style, right? Really big style. So I'm really hyped for this one as well. That's awesome. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Definitely top notch.
Did they give a month
What
for
about
that
you,
one
Jake?
when it's coming out? Did they say when it's coming out?
No, I don't think so. I
No.
feel like it had one earlier this year, and that just kind of fell away for one reason or another. So now it's just 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had
I'm
that
gonna
on my
say here
Steam wish
real-
list for a while.
I'm going to say here real quick because I don't want to mention it anywhere else, but we're on the topic of Metroidvanias. But Silk Song, a game I chose for Fantasy Critic this year, I'm not going to even talk about next year because as far as I'm concerned, that game only exists in my imagination. That was another Metroidvania I was looking forward to for 2024. And I don't know where the hell that game is. So hopefully this one comes out
Still
before
in the
Silk
oven.
Song.
Still cooking.
Yeah, it's
Chard,
it must
you
be
made me
raw.
check. We are 2 days shy of Mariachi Legends being on my wish list for a year.
Wow.
I remember we talked about this actually. I think last year, Game Awards last year. I think it was one of the
Yeah,
we did.
the announcements. Yeah,
I think it was supposed to be a
I'm
late this
interested to
year
see what mine
release,
says.
and then it just the release date disappeared, and they get asked about it now and then, and they're just like, when it's ready. Okay,
but you know
as
what?
long as they
though?
don't Silk Song it, I'll be good.
I can respect when it's ready. Just don't tell me about it 5 years in advance. That's all I ask. A year, 2 years is fine. 3 years, okay, fine. But if it's more than 3 years, you better be Elder Scrolls in terms of your release window. Otherwise, just teasing. That's all it is.
You told me about this on the 23rd of November, so right around Thanksgiving, and I've had it on there since.
No, I want to mention this. November mentions in the comments. Who remembers that Silk Song was supposed to be a DLC for Hollow Knight? Didn't I bring that up last week?
I think so.
Probably.
But before that, I didn't even realize it was so long ago that Hollow Knight came out, and just the 2 DLCs back to back, and then the Silk Song hype. Like there was a time where I'm like, I better play Hollow Knight because it's going to come out in 6 months. I have to finish Hollow Knight before I can play Silk Song. I didn't realize I had 2 years worth of Sisyphean games to get through first. It's crazy.
Plenty of time.
Nuts. Anyway,
Play
so
Hollow
my
Knight
pick. I got deep into it, but no, I have not beaten it yet. The game is hard. Although now that I've beaten Elden Ring, I can probably do it no problem. Every game looks easy compared to Elden Ring. I don't know.
Did the same thing with Mega Man 1. You beat Mega Man 1 and then you went and beat it on.
Then I beat the Mega Man 1 on every goddamn platform it's ever existed on. Yeah, I got evidence too. I can do anything. I can beat Mega Man 1. This is nothing. I'm a pro gamer. Come on, Street Fighter 6. Fuck you. I got this.
Those were funny MPs.
My pick is going to be it was called Project L, and it's League of Legends. I mean, everybody knows about League of Legends. Toxic fandom aside, it's one of the most popular and I think quite a bit of fun Dota-esque online game. But it's also like a media empire at this point, right? The point where I think they just had their equivalent of Worlds or their World Championships. They had Linkin Park perform at the League of Legends Nationals or whatever the hell it was. Linkin Park was hired to do a song drop at this thing. Like it's huge in a bizarre way. So there's like a hit anime called Arcane that's on Netflix that's getting a second season. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. I heard they're trying to do an MMO that's in the works, although that's probably a decade away. But they're also working on a fighting game, and not just any fighting game, but a 2-on-2 tag fighting game. So when I think of that, hold on a second. I'm trying to get the trailers off the screen so, for the audio listeners. So not just any kind of fighting game, but a tag-based fighting game, and I love those. And that goes back to me how much I loved Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter vs. X-Men, all that good stuff. Chard and you and I did an episode recently on that Capcom compilation, and I'm telling you, one of the reasons I was hyped for that is because this game is coming out. I didn't realize how soon, but next year. They have done a few alphas. I think they've done some demos at Evo, I believe it was. They did a demo, so people have had a little bit hands-on time with some of the characters. But it's a 2-on-2 fighting game, tag fighting game in the League of Legends universe. So they're pulling characters from League. I can't even tell you how many characters are in League these days. It's dozens of characters. So they have a wide pool of things they could pull from if they want, or do something new. But this is the idea of crazy and wild and crazy characters, tag assists, swapping back and forth, the whole 9 yards. It looks hectic. It looks a lot of fun. Everything I like about Marvel vs. Capcom, but newer characters, I guess. So it looks really solid. The graphics look great. The music sounds okay. I'm pretty hyped for this one. Will I play it? I don't know. The Street Fighter 6 kind of turned me off, but I still want to see what this game becomes, because the only thing I don't like about League of Legends is the chat when you're playing those 60-minute games, right? It gets very toxic, or at least it used to when I played years ago.
Yes.
But like nowadays, November says he thinks 170 characters. If it's that high, that's insane. That's ridiculous.
Them's a
The
lot
League's
of
been around. League's been around for a long time, though, right? But yeah, I guess the big issue with this, it was called Product L, and then they decided to call it 2XKO, which, yeah, you're right, November. How the hell do you even pronounce that? It's a dumb name for a game I'm pretty excited for, I guess. Like, have you guys seen this one, or know about it, or yeah? Okay.
I was watching it after you posted about it, because I went through the list, and I, of course, went, that's a weird name. Let's see what this one's about. And I went, oh, it's a fighting game. And then, of course, Jake picked it as one of the ones he wanted to talk about. And I went, well, Jake's into his 2v2 fighting games, so this isn't a big surprise. Might as well be Tetris. But I didn't play a lot of leagues. I played very little leagues way back in the day. But I think it looks beautiful. I think the artwork looks cool, looks smooth, looks like the fighting styles are going to be kind of neat. And again, I like it when they give you a ton of characters to pick from. I want to be able to play a fighting game and play every single character and not be able to do it in one night and come back to it later. It's one of the reasons I like Marvel versus Capcom 2 and 3. There's so many choices to play with that it's pretty neat. Ironically, I saw on our list that they're coming out with Marvel's Fighting Collection 2 next year at some time. So thought that was
that one's going to have Capcom versus SNK 2, and that was the one I really liked when I was younger with a Dreamcast. That game was solid. Yeah, it's pretty good as well. If you're like a fighting game fan from the last year or so to even next year, you're feasting, right? We've had so many great fighting games, from new Mortal Kombat, Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, Marvel vs. Capcom came back.
Isn't Guilty Gear getting another release sometime this year that I thought I saw?
Not Guilty Gear, more DLC. I think they have 2 more characters in the current season. Guilty Gear has always been kind of strange. Usually when they have a hit game, they do a bunch of characters, and then they usually do like a re-release, but they update things. Like there's Rev and Rev X, I think it was called, for the last one. I think they've stuck with a season model for this game so far, which is fine, because Guilty Gear Strive, even though it's a couple years old, still looks amazing. Like Strive just looks great. It's still an awesome game, and adding more characters is not a bad thing. Even if I'm not a fan of paying money per fighter, but at least it's not too bad. But yeah, I think Arc System Works, I'm trying to remember what they're doing now. They did some work on Blaze Blue, Blaze Blue is theirs. They did another fighting game. Like they do their own games, but then they also get contracted out by other companies to help with their games, right? That's why they did Street Fighter Z Fighters a number of years ago, and that's why I think that game did so well, because Arc is amazing. So it'll be interesting to see another 2D game that's not done by Arc, right? This is done by the League folks, and it's good to see some competition, because it's even though it's still 3D models, that graphical 2D style looks really, really on point, and it looks really solid.
It's a solid drive. I mean, I know they were doing the 3D fighting styles for a long time, and we had the polygons and like the DOAs and the Tekkens and whatnot. But I don't know. I'm just partial to the side-scrolling sprites. I'm always a bigger fan of the 2D fighting styles. So, but maybe that's just from me growing up with it and playing it all the time in the arcades, it just reminds me of good times at the arcade. So
Yeah,
anything that looks like that works for me.
to me, there's something magical about playing a fighting game where the characters look cartoony rather than hyper realistic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It feels more fun. It feels more frenetic. It feels like, I don't want to shit on anybody liking Mortal Kombat, but to me, like, 10-year-old me, oh, crap, this is great. There's gore and all it. 40-year-old me, I'm like, I'd rather have more style.
Right.
That said, I think I had heard of 2XKO. I'm going back to before because I didn't get to jump in. But I I am grumpy old man, and I instantly, once I see something is related to League of Legends, I'm like, nah, I'm out. Because I had such a bad time with League.
Right.
That I just when Arcane was announced, I was like, meh. There was some RPG based on one of the little fur balls from League of Legends. Didn't care.
Yeah. Carries the title. If it has League in it, I'm done.
If I were to go back and play it now, I bet you I couldn't recognize 90% of those characters. It's been a number of years since I played it, but I still dug the world they're building. I just had to shut off chat. That's all it is. So that's okay. I don't know. We'll see. I mean that this, and then if this does well, I know they did mention MMO. I'm always interested in MMOs. That's a hard market to get into. It is so dominated by Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm all in for a fighting game. So, Chard, how about you? What's your next pick? Oh, sorry, Wolf. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do absolutely believe that in the value proposition of the League of Legends title, I am just not the audience. But also, I want to say, you guys were talking about like fighting games. Sega announced that Virtua Fighter's coming out of retirement too.
Oh,
so before we jump on to the next title, I wanted to throw that in there as well.
They have to, because like,
yeah, I know, right?
Like in terms of 3D fighters, there's just there's Tekken 8 really, because that has 3D movement. There was November in chat mentioned DOA, but it's not likely because the team left the company. And that's the same deal with Soul Calibur. Actually, I think Soul Calibur is the same studio. A lot of those folks left as well. So we're not going to see a Soul Calibur or DOA or anything else that's a 3D fighter for who knows how long. So it's nice to see Sega continue that renaissance and start bringing back their older titles back or their franchises back, right? So we know they're doing like Golden Axe and Shinobi and all that stuff. Crazy Taxi is coming back. But Virtua Fighter had always had like a really hardcore audience. So it'll be neat to see what that looks like. If anything, it'll look damn pretty because that game is always good looking.
Great. Yeah.
I'm also interested to see what Sega does with it, given, Virtua Fighter sort of spawned Shenmue, sort of spawned Like a Dragon. I want to see what sort of funk Like a Dragon rubs back on Virtua Fighter going forward.
Oh, okay.
That's one crossover I want to see. I want to see Yakuza characters in a fighting game. It might as well be, right? Like, give me Kiro and Majima in a game.
Why wouldn't Virtua Fighter be the perfect opportunity to introduce?
That's what I'm saying. I can't imagine them not putting Kiryu and Majima in a new Virtua Fighter game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they will sell like hotcakes just because of those two characters, right?
So
nobody cares about Jackie, Sarah, and Akira anymore. Like, it's been too long. They got to have some of that modern heat, and they'll bring it. So there you go.
I can imagine that just a fighting game. The stages would be like Streets of Tokyo or Kamurocho, wrong city, but Kamurocho. And then there's a bike. You can pick it up and you can wail away with the bike for a bit. Scooter, tree, just the destructible terrain as you wheel his weapons. I would be all over that kind of game. That's something I'd like to see them do.
Nice.
I mean, if there's a pirate spinoff of Yakuza, then why not a fighting game? I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Hawaiian pirate or some shit.
Yeah, that's actually that's coming out next year too.
I know.
Crazy year. Chard, how about you? What's your next pick?
All right, we're gonna keep it dark and gritty, and well, most of my picks are dark and gritty. Actually, as I'm looking through them, I don't think there's one. No, there is a colorful one. There is one colorful one in there, so we're good. But all the ones that I picked are always going to be evil and demonic and scary and this shit. This isn't so much scary in the sense of like Alien VR is scary. This is scary for the things that you're going up against, because I'm picking Doom: The Dark Ages. This game looks freaking badass. And if there's nothing that Chard likes more is to feel like a badass when he's playing video games. I've said that on numerous episodes of this wonderful podcast that I adore being a fucking just terror for the things that I am fighting. They give you a shield with a goddamn razor blade on it. Your typical weaponry. I like the dual wielding of the shield and the gun and all this stuff. And you're fighting the same demon. It's Doom. It's fucking Doom. You can't go wrong with Doom. Like it's just what Bethesda has done with Doom has been absolutely spectacular from 2016 all the way up to now. Doom guy is the man, and it's just awesome to see what they're gonna do with this. It's the same thing, but with different sauce. It's like it's still a hot dog, but we put ghost pepper sauce on it instead. Like, I don't know. You can't go wrong with Doom in my eyes. You just got to go out there and kick ass. You get to ride a dragon and blow fire at shit. I mean, you're shooting. This weapon has a skull grinder, and it's shooting the shrapnel of skulls at the things. Who thinks of this shit?
And the
Who's lying in
chainsaw
bed
shield.
going, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
this thing
Yeah,
is
look at-
fantastic." It is.
I'm about to bring it around to the beginning again. But it's basically first person Rygar with guns.
Exactly. It's like
You
Captain
got that
America,
shield
but he's
disc.
pissed off. I mean, it's
The disc
it's
armor,
so
right?
cool.
Yeah.
He's got that disc armor. So I love it. I think it's gonna be great. I love medieval time games, and to put Doom guy into a medieval hell just seems really neat. So I'm all about it. I'm sold. I will be buying that on first week of release.
I kind of want to know what
always. Go ahead.
We're not AI.
I just want to know what
Tell
the
we're not
lore
AI.
is. I'm kind of curious what the lore is going to be because it's not distant past. It's obviously future. It's the Doom guy in high tech armor in a sci-fi setting. He gets shot from a station in space down to the planet, but it's clearly got the medieval ages theme going on. I know it doesn't matter in his Doom, and I don't want to think too hard, but I am curious what the lore and the story of this is going to be and how it ties into the previous games, if it does at all.
Well, Doom is always best when it's just over the top absurd, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's already a winning combination there. But I mean, look, Army of Darkness, right? They did it too.
Yeah. Yep.
It worked. So Doom could do it if Army of Darkness could do it.
Like some of my favorite reviews of Doom on Steam has been it's a survivor horror game, but they are surviving me and I am the horror. I
that's a
love
good way of
it. I
describing
think
it.
it's so great. So yeah, Doom
you
the
played,
Dark Ages. When I saw this being sold, I was all in immediately.
Did you play the last one, Eternal?
I did.
Did you finish it? Like, how was that one?
I've
That was
not
good?
finished it yet, but I played the hell out of it. It's up in the air for
Okay.
possibly being a Sisyphean game next year. It's one that I would love to complete because it is a lot of fun. But I don't know if I should follow. I did Doom 3 last year, and I did a new one this year. Should I do it like every other year? Do a Doom game? That's kind of where we're going with that. So
At least you're playing a good one this time, right?
yeah, no, it's great. It's one of those things where I want to play it on my PC, and I just haven't had time because it works great on the Steam Deck too.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Sit down to finish it. Yeah.
Yeah, I played the one before that. I think it was 2016's Doom, and that was
Mhm.
solid. That was a great time, and I've been waiting to kind of have time to play Eternal, but I have a huge backlog already. But Eternal looked really rad, so I'm kind of curious about this new one as well. It's definitely, you're right, Wolf, absurdist in all the best ways. Sorry, I had hot sauce at dinner and I'm like dying here.
Dr. Pepper is giving me the worst
God.
hiccups I've had in a long time. So that's what happens
The
when you
ghost
go on a
pepper hot
diet,
sauce was a
literally drink
mistake.
it once a day.
If we don't get a Doom guy jumping an actual shark in the next 3 games, I'll be
Oh
disappointed.
fuck. Same. That has to happen. Give him a
Add some
motorcycle
lasers
and
to
everything.
the shark. It'd be great.
It's so perfect.
Okay. Wolf, what's your next pick? Can I
My
guess?
next pick?
Can I guess? It's got to be Suikoden.
Sure.
What?
Yeah, it's Suikoden. 1 and 2
Suikoden, of
HD
course it was.
remaster.
This was the one that I was like, fuck, someone's got to pick this. I'm going to feel bad if I don't pick this.
I've been looking forward to this one for a while too. Initially, it was supposed to come out in March or February of this year or something. So it got way pushed back.
Oh, wow.
And it's it looks kind of silly because when you look at the gameplay for this, it's got these HD textures on everything. The world map, the 3D battles, everything's HD except for the character sprites. The character sprites are the good old-fashioned 32-bit pixelated sprites. And I love it. Like there's something silly about it, but it also just kind of works because they're like, yeah, we're going to update everything except the sprites. Profile portraits are really pretty. Like, you can see all this detail on everything except them. And I don't know, there's something that takes me back to the PS1 era for that.
Right. I like it. I think it's cool to polish everything around it. I mean, the Pixel remasters kind of did the same thing with Final Fantasy, where it was like, we'll polish everything around it, but we're going to keep the sprites very pixelated. Now they cleaned up the pixels, of course, but that was one of the things that brought me into it to begin with, even though, I have my beef with buying a game that I've had 4 of the versions of, but to do the same thing to Suikoden, where everything's clean, the portraits are nice, like you said, everything's cleared up, but the sprites look exactly the same. That's just tugging on the old nostalgic heartstrings. That's something that I was like, I gotta look into getting that thing when it comes out. That looks cool.
So in all the little army battles, you got these stupid little lemming-looking dudes running around fighting each other in a really HD little landscape. It's silly. I love it.
It's perfect. No,
this is a game where if they replace the sprites with 3D models, I don't think anybody would want to play this. I think the nostalgia is definitely like the 3D backgrounds with the sprites, and if you go away from that, you're kind of ruining the nostalgia. Absolutely clean up the 3D. I mean, this is PlayStation, right, originally. So
yes,
yeah, clean up the 3D models and stuff, sure, but you got to leave those sprites. And they're sprites, but they still look really great. The pixel art was always good for this, right? Is this the game series that had like a bazillion characters you could recruit?
108.
Yep.
League of Legends over here. So that's crazy. 108. All right.
Yeah. Well, it's based on, I can't remember the name, but it's a Chinese legend where it was the 108 Stars of Destiny or something like that. And so that's why you get 108 characters. And you can't play as all of them. Some of them are just shopkeepers or chefs or whatever, but you usually end up being able to use like 60 to 80 of them in combat, I think.
Wow.
That's nuts. Yeah, that was a franchise I always wanted to try out. But like I have such a rough time playing JRPGs these days, but if I were to go back and play one, that might be the one I would try. Because like I always wanted to check it out.
Play that for years, and
I've
been trying to cut out time to jump into it and play it because it's always looked very, very good to play.
I loved 1 and 2, but 2's Western translation was garbage. Like there was all sorts of things that were just mistranslated. My favorite example is there was a headgear piece that was translated as circulet instead of circlet.
Circlet,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
is it a new translation team that they set out for this one, or
I do believe, it's all a fresh retranslation of the games. So I appreciate that as well. I think given the fact that the original 2 did hit really hard emotionally back then, going back for a retranslation of them, it's going to be that much better.
Right. Was it, I guess, Chard, you played Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. Was the translation for that still the original from the SNES, like Ted Woolsey, or did they change that one? I heard they changed it.
It seemed like it was a little bit different from the original. It seemed like there was some more.
Did you like that they changed it, or do you think the original was better? You still like?
No, I didn't. It didn't bother me enough to be, that I hung myself up on it. I think I was more excited that they're saying this is the line, we've been waiting for this line or whatever, and seeing all the Kafka's lines about the end of the world and all that shit. It played out really well.
Like I'm thinking if they ever did a remake again, I guess, of Final Fantasy IV, if they don't have that Spoony Bard line, I'd kind of be upset. I kind of like the hokey translations for some of these classic games.
Well,
So I'm
some
trying
of
to.
those
I
things are
don't
just
have I don't have that
iconic,
nostalgia
whether
for
they're
Suikoden and
messed
what it
up
was
or not.
like.
So,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it'll be
like
interesting to
you
see.
look at Final Fantasy IV, it's just not the same without the Spoony Bard comment.
Right.
But
Right.
Right.
there's
Or
sometimes
suplexing a train,
there's
which you still
yeah,
can
but
do. So
sometimes
it's
there's like jokes or references that are very dated to the time, and so
Right.
for that I can appreciate a modern retranslation, especially if they leave out the tongue-in-cheek pop culture joke references kind of thing, then
Yeah.
it makes it more timeless.
right.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there.
Speaking of, since you mentioned Suikoden, next year we're also getting another RPG. This is not on my list, but I had to
Yeah,
say
it wasn't
something
on
about it.
mine either, but I just thought of it. I think you're thinking the same
Yeah.
thing as me. Is it
Lunar
Lunar?
Remastered Collection is coming out. And they did the exact
Yeah.
they're doing the exact same thing that you and I are all about, except they didn't really clean up. The only thing they really looks like they spruced up is the cutscenes, the anime style cutscenes that they have. They look spectacular, but it is like still the same base sprite work. Even the level design around it still looks like the base game sprite work, but like everything's smoother. The attacks seem like they're a little bit smoother in battle, but the anime cutscenes that they already had in the original look stellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stellar.
That
The
and those are
Galleon
getting a
picture
full
looks
retranslation
amazing.
as well because
Yep.
Victor Ireland would not sell the translation rights to them for anything less than what I understand to be kind of an overpriced amount. So
That's an odd one because like for me it was never the story, like the translation for that game that hit with me. It was always the music, and the music was really good. And then
Oh,
the
yeah.
opening cutscenes were amazing. Like definitely, if you were to have a Sega CD, that was the game I think you show off for the Sega CD if you're an RPG fan. Was that? And it was because the videos were so great. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that one out too next year. That's man.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
sometimes I don't
really
mind a
good.
remaster. I don't mind a remaster in this case.
Yeah.
It's not, $10 Horizon Zero Dawn forehead DLC. So I don't mind a
$10.
remaster once in a while. Yeah.
It's $10. Okay, that's a burger, and I'm saving money on not eating out. So
Okay.
fair.
Okay, I think it'd be next.
Yeah.
Let's go with okay. You picked a video too. I got to show this video off. I'm going with we talked briefly for a minute about the Switch 2. God, sometimes I hate Nintendo, but I love them. They have not officially announced the Switch 2. They keep referring it to the upcoming or the what's it they call it, the replacement for the Switch or the successor to the Switch is what they keep calling it. They won't call it Switch 2. They won't call it Super Switch. They barely acknowledge a console is coming. We all know a console is coming. And at the start of this year, we did this Fantasy Critic thing, which for those who don't know, Fantasy Critic is kind of like fantasy football, but with game releases. And at the beginning of the year, they populate the list of what games they think are going to come out that year. And it was assumed that Switch 2 would come out this year in 2024, and they would have to launch with a Mario game. So we were doing the draft for picks. I saw untitled 3D Mario platforming game. I'm like, I'm taking that one because there's going to be a 3D Mario coming out in 2024 with the Switch 2, and it's going to be amazing. It's Mario. How could it not? Well, I mean, it never came out, and we never got the Switch 2. In fact, Nintendo didn't even acknowledge the goddamn system until like 2 months ago. So, 2025.
I picked Metroid Prime 4 thinking that we were going to get that one too. I risked a little bit on that one.
But that's coming out next year, I think, right? So,
yeah, that's finally got a video and an announcement. So
yeah,
I'm already one step ahead.
Yeah, it'll be end of next year, and that'll be interesting to see what that looks like. But yeah, Switch 2 is supposed to come out next year, or at least they're going to give an announcement next year. I don't know, but if it does come out, the way I see it, the last Mario game we had, and it was a good one, was Mario Wonder, but it was a 2D platformer. They're not going to do a 2D platformer for the Switch 2. They're not going to do Mario Kart 9 because they just did a Mario Kart 8 DLC that was epic in size. It doubled the tracks. I don't see a Smash Ultimate sequel anytime soon. I just don't see any other kind of Mario game coming out except back to basic 3D Mario platforming game like we have with Odyssey. And Odyssey was all the way back in like 2017, I want to say. That was like when the Switch first came out. So I think we're more than due for a new 3D Mario game. The closest we've got, I think, was the Super Mario 3D World. They added a Bowser's Fury expansion to it, and that was more freeform 3D, but it wasn't an Odyssey replacement, right? So I'm looking forward to whatever the hell Nintendo does for a 3D Mario platforming game. I loved Odyssey. I thought Odyssey was really great. I liked the bite-sized moons. I loved how you would go into the wall and it would be 2D pixel Mario, and how every suit you could wear in the game had a pixel sprite to match. I thought that was really clever. The music was fantastic.
You're talking all
Is
this
there
stuff.
video? Oh, right. Yeah, you guys show the video of
play
the.
the
Hold on. I'll play the video. It's great for an audio podcast. Yeah. Sorry, I keep talking. I don't shut up. so for the audio listener, Char gave me a video of 8-2 of Mario Brothers 1 as a artist representation of what the 3D Mario platformer would look like.
Love you,
but yeah,
to be fair, there were parts of Mario, the last 3D Mario game, that kind of looked like this.
It did.
Yeah, the same style. You would jump on the world, in the hidden areas onto the wall, and it'd be 2D perspective, and it would be Mario 1 looking sprites. It was fantastic. It was really neat, and like I said, all the costumes of the game had a 2D pixel sprite. Enough that I wish that they would have brought out a 2D Mario game with those sprites. They had them there. It's really bizarre they didn't do it. But yeah, give me an Odyssey 2, or give me something brand new. I don't care. But I want a great 3D Mario game again. I think we're more than due for another 3D platforming game. I don't know. I think the last one I played was maybe the Spyro Reimagined or Reignited trilogy. I think that was the last 3D platform I played, and that was a great one. Yeah, it was great. But I want a new one. So I don't know. What about you guys? Do you think you have any interest in a Mario 3D game?
Yeah, I liked Mario Galaxy.
Probably.
I thought that was a lot of fun. I think that was the last one I played was Mario Galaxy.
I enjoyed Galaxy. I enjoyed 64. I hated Sunshine. I didn't play Galaxy 2 just because I was kind of off of the Wii at that point. But what was the most recent? Odyssey. Odyssey I really enjoyed. There were a couple of points where I felt like it got a little tedious, but for the most part I really dug it. And then I'm hoping whatever 3D Mario game we get is a lot like Bowser's Fury that we saw in Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury for the Switch. Because that open world Mario experience was actually pretty awesome. Even if it's not like a whole open world, like open world by zone would be pretty cool just the same.
Right. How big was that? Because I never did play that. My kids played it, but I never actually sat down to go through that. I like 3D World a lot, but I didn't try Bowser's Fury.
I would say Bowser's Fury was probably like 3 to 4 hours, maybe give or take.
Okay.
So I could see that being like 1/7 of a full 3D Mario game in that style, because there's usually 7-8 worlds. So
yeah, I'm thinking like Mario 64, right? Every zone, you spend a good couple hours in every zone in Mario 64, and there was quite a few of them. So yeah, you're right. If they did that, I'd be all down for that. I'd be all in on that. Like, bring back Cat Mario. I like Cat Mario.
And I can see them playing with that a little bit, keeping that sort of style where the boss of the area is always encroaching on you somewhat.
Right.
And each world, it could be a different regular Mario creature that's this gargantuan beast because Kamek flew in and cast a spell on it. Like, simple to get to the point and just start playing with a giant Koopa Troopa or Goomba or whatever. Like,
yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's more than due. I think it's more than time. I mean, 2017 was a long time ago in terms of, gaming years. But I mean, first we need the Switch 2. I guess we'll have to see what the Switch 2 looks like. I've also said a few times I don't want to buy a Switch 2 because I have a Steam Deck and I have so many issues with the hardware, like the Joy-Cons. But if the Switch 2 has maybe a radically shifting gears on the Joy-Cons, maybe if the game is good, I don't know, but it's still something to see anyway.
You're just gonna get Mario Odyssey 2 for the Switch 2.
Super Odyssey. Also, they need to lean into that whole like Super Nintendo naming convention with this. I don't know why they just don't say it's a Super Switch. Like they could do so well with that.
Switch Mario.
Switch Mario. Yeah.
Then a Switch 64.
Wait, is it Wolf or no, Chart again, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's next?
All right. We got a fun one, and this was one I was going to compare to Mariachi Legends with Wolf's Pick. This is a new one from I guess New Blood Interactive. This game is called Tenebrous Somnia, if I pronounced that right. Wow. Look at me speaking Latin. This is a retro-inspired horror survival game. You're seeing a pattern here with me, with live action cutscenes in between each thing, and it looks terrifying. It looks really, really cool. I am totally sold on this game. There is a demo that's on Steam right now that I need to get myself into and play around with it. But I really like the concept of the mixture of reality with the retro survival spinoff. So it's like if Resident Evil was on the Nintendo, the NES entertainment system, and then they're like, we're gonna throw live actors and actresses in there and tell the story through that too, and come up with some horribly terrible looking creatures that you're going to run into. I'm sold. I've heard very good things about it from friends of mine. It's kind of a left fielder, as it is both retro and real action. I have to try this out. This looks so cool. I think Jake, I think you sent me a TikTok of this initially.
Yeah. When I saw this on TikTok, I'm like, what is this? Is this real? And then I realized it was a horror game, but pixel art with the mashup with the live action. I said I had to send this to you. I knew that this would be your jam. And it was a demo. I think it was Steam Next Fest, I think was going on at the time. Yep. Yeah, this one looks interesting. I'm not quite sure I'm sold on it, but I'm totally interested in the style. It's a bold choice of a mix up. And the pixel art again looks really great. I am a sucker for good pixel art.
The cutscenes also look like decent production quality too, so that helps.
Yeah,
but
that's the other thing. It doesn't look like it's B actors. It looks like they put some work into this particular display of what they're trying to sell you. So
yeah, I'm interested in this. This seems pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, this one's high on my list of things that I'm excited for coming out next year, and I'm definitely going to be giving this one a try. And I bet it plays fantastic on the Steam Deck, so that'll be a fun, play in the dark, scare myself stupid kind of game, and a movie that comes with it apparently. So, but when we were looking at the Mariachi Legends doing the same thing, it with the live action detective, and then it goes into the pixel art. It very much reminded me of this same kind of thing that they were doing with the live action, but they really sell the pixel art and the live action additive. So I hope that Mariachi Legends decides to adopt the live action with the pixel art thing too. So I think it's a really cool feature that they're throwing out there. So Tenebrous Somnia, check that shit out. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to find if there's any other games by the developer, but I think they might be new.
I think they're pretty new. I haven't heard much.
They had some games that I saw on Steam. There's the Black Heart, and it looks like Hellbound.
Hellbound, that sounds familiar. Okay.
Hellbound.
The tagline is a 90s FPS 30 years later.
Okay. So probably a boomer shooter in a modern era. Yeah, okay. I dig it. That sounds good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. That looks really neat. That'll probably be on my wish list as of tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, the problem with this episode is how many games are we going to buy now in 2025? You don't have money for all of these.
Looks like the demo is still on Steam. It's still available to download and try.
Nice.
Then you should download it now, because a lot of the time those get pulled off at the end of the year after Game Awards are done and the hype dies down. They usually pull it, and then the game comes out next year. So definitely grab the demo now if you're interested in it. That's pretty rad.
Play it, because after they pull it down, it's also you can't play it anymore. They shut it down.
We might mess around with it tonight. 2D survival horror adventure game with live action cutscenes. Unveil the depths of disturbing story by solving puzzles and fighting horrible creatures. Let's go.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
That's a Chard game.
That's a Chard game. I think Tenebrous Somnia is actually Charred Monk in Latin. Sounds accurate.
Isn't Somnia sleep?
Maybe.
So is this like
Yes.
I'll sleep when I'm dead?
No, it means monk.
Tenebrous?
It means monk.
Somnia?
Yes.
I can see the opening
Bring it
line
up.
already. Now it's got to be an episode. Shit, we're
No,
all playing
it
this
means
one.
comes out, we'll do
darkness. Tenebrous means darkness.
Oh.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or the darkness of night.
Well, Somnia when I'm dead. Tenebrous?
Done. Easiest one line ever. All right. Wolf, what do you got? What's your next one?
All right. Here's a little bit more off the wall selection. I came across this earlier this year. Looked really fun. The wife was also interested in playing this one with me, so this might be a one that I play with her as well because it's got multiplayer. It's called Goblin Cleanup,
Okay.
and
What is this?
you are a goblin in a dungeon, and you have to go clean up the mess after adventurers come through. But you can also fall victim to the traps and all the problems with the dungeon. So the idea, like you can get eaten by a mimic you saw there. So the idea is to clean up the dungeon without yourself falling victim to it.
They don't turn it off for the cleaning people? That's kind of
Nope.
messed up.
They're not unionized
There's
to
a
the Goblin
dragon
Camp.
still in there. What the heck?
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to go clean up all the guts and gore of the failed heroes and not die to the traps.
That's clever.
I saw the mop you use. It looks like a slime with eyes. That's
like
pretty
a squid.
awesome. What was that game? As a dungeon keeper that had the traps where you build a dungeon for the heroes to come in. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, Dungeon Keeper did something like that. There was also Evil Genius did something like that. And what was that? Chemco, I think, had one for the PlayStation. What was that called?
Yeah. I remember Chemco. Was it Deception?
Yeah. Okay, it wasn't Chemco, it was Tecmo. Tecmo's Deception.
Is it? Okay. There's a co somewhere. Yeah. The concept of like the evil dungeon and you have to like clean and maintain it is pretty freaking funny. And I saw there at the end of the trailer that it was a Kickstarter game, so that's interesting. That's good.
I love taking it the next step, and instead of being the dungeon management, now you're the dungeon custodial.
Janitors, yes. I love you're cleaning up the dead adventurers. The ones that you ever wonder what happens to your body after you die in a dungeon? The Goblin Cleanup crew comes in there and takes care of it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. I mean, that's something I got to look up too, I think.
It looks like a lot of fun.
So much FOMO.
That's the thing. Yeah, like all these games, no money to buy them all. But they all look really great. And like a number of these are just coming out in February, which is insane. There's at least 10 in February that look like games I would be interested in. So I'll have to kind of just ration them out throughout the year.
There's a demo for Goblin Cleanup.
There is.
Is there? Have you tried it?
I've not played it yet. I keep meaning to and haven't. But I got to try that before they pull it down because I got to know if it's as good as it looks. Yeah. But I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Oh, especially if there's multiplayer. If it's split screen
I think
multiplayer.
It's up to 4-player.
Okay. Oh, really?
I don't know if it's
clean
split
up
screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing another multiplayer game with you guys. That would be fun. Like we did Shredder's Revenge like forever ago.
Yeah, it's been like a year and a half, 2 years at this point. Wowza.
I think 2 years. Crazy.
Need to loosen up some more schedules.
Yeah, that's enemy is time, right? That's always the big hardest part. Okay. Who's next? Is that me?
You.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you guys got like 4 picks. So, all right, I'll do mine because it might be a little bit long, and then I'll do you guys' picks.
Well, we're gonna if it's the one I think we're gonna go. You and I are gonna gush about this one.
Yeah. My last one will probably be just a short little snippet about it too. So
Oh, I didn't hit
Same.
the button. There's the button. Monster Hunter Wilds. And I was kind of, when I saw the trailer for this, I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, that's cool. I'm always up for more Monster Hunter. But then I saw the full trailer, and then they released it had an open beta weekend last week. And Chard, you and I both played it. Man, that game is fucking good. Like I loved the shit out of World. I have maybe 200 hours playing through World. And then when they brought Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, I played the hell out of Rise on the Switch. It was great. I mean, it wasn't as pretty as World. World looked amazing, but the gameplay was pretty solid on the Switch. Yeah. And then now they're taking in Monster Hunter Wilds, they're taking the mount system from Rise and the more open zones of World and putting it together. And it looks just epic. So I know I played the demo, and I'll talk for 1 second, Charlie, I'll pass it to you. The big thing for me, the big takeaway was the zone was massive, and there's live weather as you're playing. So when I started a hunt, it was like broad daylight, and it was fine. I'm fighting a monster, chasing him down, and toward the end of the fight, the monsters run off Monster Hunter. As the monster is running off, it starts to get dark and foggy, and then lightning starts hitting. And we're talking lightning, a lightning storm. We're talking bolts of lightning are striking the ground that damage you if you're nearby, or damage the monster when you're nearby. And as I'm trying to kill off this frog thing, out of nowhere comes a lightning dragon type of monster. And they had the monster surprises in World, and I think they had them in Rise as well, but they were never this fucking epic, right? The idea of the weather coming down, the weather's coming in, and the weather lightnings are striking, and you're just trying to kill this monster, and an even bigger monster comes down with the weather effects. It was just such an epic scene. The music was awesome. Just riding around on that chocobo style mount felt really awesome. Like, just what an epic looking game. I can't wait for this one. And it comes out in February, so I don't have to wait long. It's not December like Aliens.
Right.
But it's only a few months away. And that open beta I was so glad I played it. Because I went from being like interested in this game to like I have to play it day one. Like that's where it's at for me. So like, Chard, what did you think of the demo?
It was exactly how Monster Hunter World roped me in, the same exact way, where I was like, everybody's talking about it. Monster Hunter looks cool. When Monster Hunter World came out, I watched Lord Optic play a little bit of it, and it was the same thing where he was chasing a monster, and then another monster like grabbed it and wrapped itself up in it. It was like an eel monster that was fighting it. They were fighting each other while he was trying to capture it. I went, what? So I bought it. I had to buy it. Played the hell out of Monster Hunter World, freaking adored it. Rise came out and everybody was kind of talking it, so I unfortunately listened to the talking heads about Rise and I didn't get into it. But then this beta came out. I didn't think I was going to find time to squeeze in to try it out, and I came up here and holy God, this game was so fun and smooth. I felt stupid because I couldn't remember the button controls, so I felt like I was just flailing about with my glaive, my insect glaive, like rocketing myself into the air, then flying in the wrong direction, getting beaten up by all these things. It just starts it's adrenaline from start to finish, and you're chasing these things down. And I remember picking up the pieces that I knocked off so I can make cooler armor with it or cooler weapons. This is going to be epic. And me and Jake are going to be playing this shit in February because I'm sold. I was sold the minute that I hit the desert sand. And like he said, the storm comes in and you see lightning cracking across the sky while you're fighting this giant beast. They did such a good job with it. And the mounts are really cool what they did with this. I didn't play it in Rise at all. So having that addition of being able to chase after it a little faster on the mounts, because the world's bigger, right? And
it's huge.
And then having your mount like help you out so you can whistle it in while you're getting your ass beat, and it'll come and scoop you up and you can run away to safety and kind of recoup and go back at it. It was neat. This is going to be a fantastic game. Fantastic game.
Yeah, and like I know, like I never used to like the Monster Hunter games. I remember trying to play. I think it was the third Monster Hunter. Oh, shit, it was on the Wii U. I think it was Generations. I think it might have been. It took me a while to get get in on that game because there is a learning curve with Monster Hunter games. Like you said, Chard. If you haven't played World in a while and you go back to it, it takes some time to kind of get that muscle memory with the way the controls work. It's not Elden Ring or FromSoft games. It's animation combat for sure. Like you're committed when you make an attack in Monster Hunter, but the feeling is different.
Very much.
But once you get into a groove of it, it's really addictive. It's really freaking interesting. And but they keep doing more and more quality of life. So in Rise, the two features that were big there was like a dog. You could ride a dog, and also would go up walls for you. They also had like the wire bug system, basically glorified grappling hook. I didn't really care for the grappling hook stuff, but the mount was pretty amazing. I know November in chat says he didn't like Rise. I thought Rise was really good. I still like World more. World was more epic. The monsters were bigger. The world was bigger. Rise was more compact because it was on the Switch. I mean, there was a PC release as well, which I do want to go through that. And I do like Rise, but World was always like the best one for me. And to see a true sequel to World, I couldn't be more hyped for. Graphics are fantastic. It's using the RE engine.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and like that RE engine was fucking epic for Resident Evil remakes. People were kind of worried that it wouldn't be able to do an open world type of game like this. And I know it's probably going to have high system requirements. This will not run on the Steam Deck, I can tell you right now. But if you have the hardware for it, it looks really damn nice. You don't think so?
Maybe. I think it might. I mean, World, I didn't think
Really?
was going to run, and it was green checked like the minute I bought this thing, and it works really good on the Steam Deck. So maybe yours, because it's got different hardware, but I don't know, they updated enough regularly that I feel like it wouldn't look anything like what we saw this weekend in our respective PCs. But I think it could still possibly be playable. I feel like this would have to be a Steam Deck playable game. That'd have to do something to it to make it work.
I mean, I would love it, but for me, when it comes to games like this, when they look this good, I'll have it run on my desktop and I'll stream it to my Steam Deck. I'm all in on the streaming to a Steam Deck. I think Moonlight Sunlight is a great system to get those games on there. Like even now, what am I playing now? Dragon's Age, Veilguard. I could run it technically on the Steam Deck, but I'd much rather run it on the PC and stream it to my Steam Deck. And it's just the experience is fine. It's great, and it looks so much better. So I'll probably do the same thing with Monster Hunter Wilds. Gosh, there's so much in this game. It looks really epic. Yeah, graphics, the music, atmosphere. I don't even care if the story is bad. It's Monster Hunter. I'm not expecting much.
I'm
Right?
not signing up for story. I'm signing up for hunting some cool looking shit. That's what I'm all about.
And like these games always have dozens and dozens of freaking hunts to go through. I can't wait to see if there's more than one environment. There has to be more than one map. And if they're even remotely like the first one we saw in this demo, man. Yeah, I can't speak enough on this one. It felt really good. And it's February. Like Capcom, like Capcom has kind of approached a golden age, I think, is even more than what they had on the NES, right? When they were at their golden age on the NES, but I think they've surpassed that in the last few years in on PC and consoles. Like the Resident Evil remakes alone are fantastic, and then adding on Monster Hunter, which is fantastic. Street Fighter, of course, 6 is fantastic. Like they've had a string of hits and so few misses. The only miss I feel for them is Dragon's Dogma 2. Like really. And 1 out of 5 or 6 ain't bad in terms of misses. So yeah. Wolf, you're not really a Monster Hunter fan, I don't think. I don't know if you think you mentioned you played one of the older ones?
Yeah, so I did get to try one way back when. I bought Monster Hunter Freedom for the PSP way back when.
Okay.
I didn't super get into it, but I also didn't know anybody else who had it, so I didn't it was just playing by myself, and it was pretty dull for the PSP playing by yourself. Then there was Monster Hunter Tri, which I think you could play most of the missions on your own, and then a few were online requirement, but I think they also had a matchmaking system to where you could play with random people or play with your friends. I got to play online with friends a couple of times. I think I did a few matchmakings, but for the most part, I just felt like playing by myself. I don't like having to rely on people I don't know to play a game like this. I also am not a big fan of the, you go to do a mission and it's going to take you an hour to do. Like you have a pretty good idea it's going to take you an hour. I don't always necessarily have an unbroken hour to play.
Yeah.
So I stay away from Monster Hunter for that reason. Like what I played of Monster Hunter Tri, I liked the gameplay loop and all that. I was really into it, but I don't have a guaranteed hour to sit and play one anymore. So
yeah,
it's probably one I will skip, even though I think it looks rad as hell.
Yeah, if you the oldest one I played was Generations, and Generations was that older style of Monster Hunter where you had to buy consumable items each round before you did a hunt because you wanted to be able to mine for ore and pick all the the ingredients and all that stuff. The gathering component required disposable consumable items. That's gone in world as of world. The other issue was there's that gameplay loop where you fight a monster, he runs away, you have to sharpen your item, maybe paintball the monster, track him down again. Tracking the monster was very difficult. But again, in World, they made the tracking of a monster a lot more seamless, and they even made it even easier in Rise. It was almost too easy in Rise. And then adding the mount in Rise made it so that when, if you have to catch up to a monster, you can. So you could stop and sharpen your weapon, chug a potion, eat your rations, and then go really quickly and get back into the action. Yeah. It does seem like Monster Hunter Wilds, the same idea, to the point where when you're on your mount, you can actually sharpen your weapon on your mount as you're going. And then what they also added was autopilot, which I like it, but maybe people might not like it. But you can have your mount auto move for you while you're doing shit, waiting to get to the monster fight. So like you know where the monster is on the map, and unless you want, if you want to manually control the bird, you totally can. But if you just wanted to zip you there automatically while you're sharpening your weapons or looking up information, you can totally do that too. So they've definitely put a focus on the quality of life improvements to these games. Yep. They're a lot easier to get into, and I think the battles in Wilds will be shorter. I'm sure there'll be huge fights that are longer, but it looks like a lot of the smaller monsters might be a bit faster, which is good. I know when I played Rise, my complaint with Rise is that the battles, even like the marquee monster for that one was Mega Mallow, I think his name was. That was like 30 minutes tops. Like he was not a long fight for Monster Hunter standards. So I kind of like the epic long battles, but I'm with you. I don't always want to do an hour playing the game. I would like to have options, and I think we might have that here. Plus, like, I know that in-game food, man. They've always been good at in-game food at Capcom and Monster Hunter. Like, not since Final Fantasy 15 has seemed better. Yeah.
I'm like, man. No, I'm hungry.
I don't know if they've addressed it since then, but in Try, I also had an issue with the fact that you would have to do the same. Like I hit a choke point where I needed to get certain types of drops for gear upgrades to really advance. And I was at a point where I was like, either do this monster that's, 30 to 45 minutes or this monster that's 30 to 45 minutes. And there's not even necessarily a guaranteed chance it's going to drop what I need.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of where I petered off and just lost interest.
I got stuck on Rathalos and Diablos for quite a while in Monster Hunter World, which is where I spun off of it because I was still playing it very much on a Souls kind of level instead of not thinking about the right way to approach everything. You know me, I'm just going to bull rush and hit my face against the wall until either the wall falls or I get hurt and leave. And that one, I had a really hard time with it for a long time, and I finally came back and I beat it, and then beat the base game, and now I have Iceborne, but I haven't gotten very far in Iceborne yet. So I'm excited to get back to the DLC. I've been playing it on I got it on my PS5 because I had it for PS4. Still looks freaking amazing on the PS5 downstairs, and then I also was gifted it. I believe Sinistar gifted it to me for Christmas time last year, and I have it on my Steam Deck so I could play it on there as well. So it is awesome. Very cool game. Wolf, if you ever have any interest and decide to pick up World or even Wilds, we will gladly, or I don't want to speak for Jake, but I will gladly play that game with you for 20 minutes to an hour, however much broken time you got. You just say, hey, I got to take a break, and I'll go take a pee, and then we'll come back and do it some more. So I think that'd be great.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Online with friends is the best. I've been wanting to do this with you guys for a long time. If we can find the time for it, I'm totally down for it. I remember playing with friends World originally, and Dergante, I think it was called. All I remember is that one. Whenever you went to use a potion, it's like if it doesn't matter how far away I was, if it could see you, it would look at you and just pounce your ass, and it would punish you for chugging a potion. And it was funny as hell, frustrating because he was hard. But I remember beating him a few times. You still do need to repeat fights, and that's kind of the fun of it. But it's not nearly the grind that it used to be. Right, Generations, I felt I had to do a lot more fights to get the items I wanted to build certain armors. This one, it's a lot easier. And even in Wilds, I felt like I was getting a lot of ingredients off the monsters. I want to say there was something in there that gave you bonus drops to make it a little bit easier. So while you'll probably have to repeat fights, I don't think it'll be nearly as much of a grind, which I think is a good thing, right? Like, I want to fight a monster because it's fun, not because I feel like I'm a chore.
Right. And the designs are cool. It's Capcom doing what Capcom does and designing some really, really cool and interesting looking creatures that are fun to fight.
There's one, because there's always like monsters that come back every game to game. There's one in Generations I haven't seen since. Is the Nibble Snarf, I think it was called. And in Generations, you actually had to use, I think, a fishing rod to yank it out of the desert sands. Like, you had to fish for it. That's got to come back. That has to be. They have a desert. They're adding things. Fishing is all the rage in games these days.
Yeah.
I want fishing, and I want Nibble Snarf. So bring back Nibble Snarf, Capcom. I want that back.
2025.
2025. Give me Nibble Snarf. Anyway. Yeah, I can't wait to February. Be prepared for Jake to be bad on research on episodes, because I'll be playing this freaking every week. Like, this will be one of my big games next year. Yeah,
he's gonna be for those football fans that listen to us. He's gonna be the Kyler Murray to Call of Duty. He's just playing like trash. We're gonna have to carry Jake throughout the rest of the year.
It's all right.
Nice.
Opening lines are all you. The rest of 2025, you guys.
Fantastic. I'll hunt when I'm dead. Monster.
Wilds.
Wilds.
All right, Char. What was your last one?
I'll do a quick last one, and this is an exciting one. This is my more colorful and less horror survivor scary game, but I'm really pumped for Ghost of Yotei. I believe that's how you pronounce that. I loved Ghost of Tsushima. That game was absolutely stunning and gorgeous. I have to finish it. I got so deep into it, and there was so much to do on it that I spun off of it just because there was so much going on. But this game, this franchise has been spectacular. And I watched the announcement trailer for Ghost of Yotei, and it's just more of the same with a different character and a really cool story and some really cool aspects to it. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for Ghost of Yotei. I think this is going to be really, really cool. I love the company that made the original, so I'm ready. I'm ready to do some more samurai shit in Japan in some exceptionally beautiful surroundings, very bright, vibrant colors. The two games that I put aside was Monster Hunter World and Ghost of Tsushima. And these games have made me re-download them and reset them up so I can play them again on my PlayStation. I cannot wait for this one. This is going to be really cool.
Yeah, the voice actress for this one is Erika Ishii, and she's also one of the voice options in Dragon Age Veilguard. She's amazing. Like, she's really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one. I did not play much of the first one. I keep saying I'm going to record myself playing it, or I'm going to do something with it. I just have to sit down and play it for me, I think, because it's a beautiful freaking game.
Massive.
Like, you're not kidding. Like, this is one of the most beautiful games I've played in years in gaming. Like, it looks really great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on PC, I'm sure it looks, because I got it for PS4, and then they had an upgrade. When you get the 5, you can get the 5 upgrade for like $5 extra. So I bought it and upgraded it for the PS5, and I turned that on and was just like, yep, okay, we gotta play through this again. So, and this is one of those games that I think the story and the combat and stuff would be intriguing enough that my wife would actually be interested, instead of watching a show on TV, watching me play this and this unfold. She did the same thing with Alan Wake. So this will be a fun playthrough. And then when this comes out, I am all about it. That's going to be really cool. So, and of course, it'll probably be a Sony exclusive for a little while. I don't know. They did make the announcement that they were going to stop making things exclusive, but it looks like it is. This version is for PlayStation 5.
Is it really?
I don't know how long it's going to be. The PS5 games announcement trailer says so.
Oh.
Doesn't mean that it's going to be.
Honestly, it means more time for me to finish the first one. I guess I'll take it for that. Yeah.
Same. So quick side. Yeah. Ghost of Yotei. I'm super.
That's a good one. Wolf, you want to do yours?
Yeah, my last one is Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition.
Finally.
And yeah. Well, I have it for the Wii U, and I tried playing it a little bit, but it's much as I like the Wii U, I think the dual screen thing that they tried to do with a handheld and a TV at the same time, it doesn't really work for me. So I never really gave it enough time. I also didn't know anybody who had it, so I didn't play online with it. So I messed with it for like an hour and that was it. But it seems like it kind of gives me Fantasy Star Online vibes to a degree.
Okay.
And I absolutely loved Fantasy Star Online. So I really look forward to going back and playing this with the remastered edition. And I didn't know a ton about it. When I found out that this spaceship that they live in, that's such sort of crash landed on whatever this world they're on is called New Los Angeles. I was I was like, what? So this isn't even in the same sort of realm as the rest of the Xenoblade Chronicles games. This one's more like a a distant future of our Earth kind of thing, rather than just some random whatever the hell world where everybody lives on giant living monsters.
Like you do.
Yeah, I what was the one Switch? It was Xenoblade
Chronicles 1, 2, and 3, honestly.
Okay.
So we got 2,
Okay.
and then we got Definitive Edition of 1, and then we got
Right.
3.
Okay. Yeah. It's it's like Final Fantasy where I never know what the hell I'm playing, but but there's a bunch of them. But I like the one on Switch. I always meant to go back to this one because I did have a Wii U, but I never got around to playing it. And I was kind of waiting for a remaster, but they've been so quiet on it. And like they remastered or they ported from the Wii U almost everything that was on the Wii U to the Switch. And this is one of the last few games left. And I'm glad to see it getting moved over, especially with an upgrade. It looks really good. Like the graphics are really awesome. Very stunning, very big environments, like big enemies and monsters. I dig that. So, and I've heard nothing but good things. So I might check this one out too.
And this one does the gears thing like Xenogears. So they went a little bit more back to the roots of, the Xeno mythologies that were kind of built. So you get to use these giant robots to fight things too, which that's just going to be fun as hell, right?
Nice.
And it's that mix of fantasy with the sci-fi. I do dig. Like Fantasy Star 4 is one of my favorite games on the Genesis, and it's that, right, where it's just the sci-fi with the fantasy and a great background world building. Yeah, this looks like a really great one. I can see why this one is liked a lot.
Yeah. So awesome. Yeah, this is definitely one I'm looking forward to. It also has, from what I understand, like we had it in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is the only one I've really sunk a lot of time into, running around and collecting resources from around the world map. Come out. My wife hates that. But now she says it too, because we said it so often. She heard it so often. That's something that we just say in the house. It's stupid. But, the resource collection, much like Monster Hunter, is a thing in this game. So I kind of look forward to that too.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome pick. I'll give you my last one real quick. I don't have a video for it. And I didn't realize it was coming out next year. I'll tell you why. And that's Grand Theft Auto 6 is supposed to come out next year. I think they said December of next year. I don't know how likely that is. It's probably going to get delayed. A game of that size usually gets at least 1 or 2 delays, so we'll see. I kind of put it on my mind because it's coming out exclusively to consoles first, because that's Rockstar. That's what they do. They'll release on console, and then a year or so later, then they'll release on PC, because they know people are going to double dip. So I won't be playing it until it's on PC. So it'll be a couple years for me, but I look forward to seeing the good reviews of that one.
Probably the only one with the console to play it, so probably just wait until PC anyway.
Yeah, like I didn't play GTA Online at all, but I actually like GTA 5's story quite a bit. I like the characters a lot. I love the retired gangster. I freaking love Lamar from the other guy's story. Franklin's story was really awesome. The cars was great. Freaking Trevor was nuts, and the map was just massive. I like GTA 5 a lot. I'm really curious to see what they do with 6. I'm hoping Rockstar doesn't screw it up with because GTA Online is one of the most profitable games I think ever. Right, it's made them so much money to the point where I'm almost shocked that they're doing a single player game. I almost figured it would be an online game only, like a games as a service period. But it looks like there is a single player component to it, which I'm happy for. but I wasn't
Look at
expecting
Red
them
Dead
to do that.
Redemption that came out, and everybody was just like, "I can't get any better than this." And then they released 2, and you're like,
Yeah.
it can't get better than this. Oh my god, okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's
Yeah.
not even you would they had they have online aspects to Red Dead, but it's nowhere near the aspects that it is on Grand Theft Auto. Like nowhere near it. So,
Oh yeah, GTA is ridiculously popular online, right? Red Dead 2 is online. I think it's dead now. I don't think, well, pun intended. I don't think they do anything with it anymore. But GTA Online still gets
Red
updates
Dead
every other week.
Online.
It's nuts. Yeah, November in
It's
chat
that
says
often?
or it's very often enough that it's always. I feel like it's always a headline on gaming sites. It's pretty
Jeez.
frequently updated. November mentions apparently they're making it with built-in RP capabilities. I can't talk right now. But role playing in GTA 5 online is like huge. And what I remember, I think they bought one or two of the main RP groups for that purpose because they wanted to include that component into the sequel. So November's right. That's going to be a big part of GTA 6. So we'll see what they do with it. I mean, I hope it's good. I hope I don't have to play online because I don't want to talk to people. I'm not that kind of gamer. But if the story is as wild and crazy as 5, I'm all in. So
yeah,
all right.
for sure.
Any other honorable mention? Oh, go ahead.
I will say I really enjoyed the single player of 5. I also really enjoyed the multiplayer in, Grand Theft Auto Online.
Mhm.
But I also liked that I didn't feel like I was compelled to play with other people on online.
Yeah.
And I could still do a ton of stuff just being ridiculous by myself online. So,
Yep.
Okay.
as long as they don't require online for 6, I'm in.
Yep.
Awesome.
Same.
Okay. Any other honorable mentions?
I forgot about Claire Obscura Expedition 33. I forgot about that, and I am excited about that.
Oh, yeah, that game looked neat. Like graphic wise, like a lot of style.
It's like it is kind of like a Final Fantasy-esque type game, but I don't know much about it that I could go on a tangent or say anything about other than what I've seen looks very, very interesting, and I'm very intrigued about it going further in. But I don't want to misclaim or misspoke anything because I did not do my research on this game. So do not.
I'm gonna pull the trailer so people can see.
There you go. Yeah. For those of you watching, and those of you listening, we have a trailer going, and it's about it, and it looks gorgeous. And if it is like Legend of Dragoon, sold, because that game is amazing. So, but it looks pretty.
Yeah, like
I
meant what I thought I confused it with Metaphor Refantasio for a while, not realizing that it was a separate game. But yeah, watching the trailer again, I'm like, I remember this at the Game Awards, and it looked really freaking awesome.
This is very exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, like people of a certain age are like not like people that are old enough are like disappearing, and I think they send out an expedition of teenagers or something to go that won't disappear to go figure out what the heck's going on or whatever. It's supposed to be spectacular. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they do.
And it looks like it takes place in a sort of like 1800s alternate reality sort of kind of thing. It's interesting.
I mean, absolutely stunning graphics. The graphics is totally bought. I'm totally bought into it. So big monsters. Combat looks very much like Legend of Dragoon, where it's timed hits, but it's still turn based.
Yeah.
But it just looks so perfect. So
yeah, I like the camera stuff they're doing with this too. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this
like
would be high
huge
on my
combat feels super dynamic.
This is also Unreal
Good
Engine
one,
5,
November.
and we're starting to get Unreal Engine 5 games now coming out, one after the other, and that engine is real freaking awesome, like really powerful. Yeah, this looks legit. Yeah, so many games. I don't have money for all this.
So, I know, neither do I.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
Maybe Game Pass
Well,
can come back and be a deal again.
I guess we should have called this episode Too Many Games 2025.
Too many games 2025.
Too many.
No, that's a good one.
All right. Well,
I'm broke 2025.
It's true. Wolf, you want to shout anything or tell people where they can find you or a game that you're playing at the moment?
Honestly, I'm still just kind of playing Vampire Survivors Castlevania DLC.
It's really good DLC.
I'm still working through unlocking characters. I think I am this close to Richter at this point.
Nice.
Are you? Okay.
Nice.
It's a lot having to sit through a half hour for each character for so many characters to get everything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think it was Vaughn in our Discord said that the final battle he said was epic. And this is Vampire Survivors, which is not. I don't expect boss battles to be epic.
And Vampire
but,
Survivors are not words that typically marry together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've seen the full map at this point, and I've only actually played in about half of it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Awesome. It's huge.
I made it to Dracula's throne room, but don't know what to do after that. So
yeah that's kind of as far as I've been. Well, there's a whole chunk of map you guys have not seen yet. Like massive.
I imagine I'm waiting for the inverted castle or whatever to show up. That's kind of what I've been planning. Yeah, Flu's in there somewhere. I'm gonna find his ass. I'm interested in this.
All right, Char, where can folks find you?
Always on Press B to Cancel and over at Twitch, www.twitch.tv/Chardmonk. We are playing Alan Wake 2. Was going to try and get back into it tonight. I took my standard weekend off last week that I usually do at the end of the month, but now I'm half tempted to try this Tenebrous Somnia this evening just to play around with it and do kind of a short, let's see what this looks like. So maybe we'll do that with the demo. See if it's really worth the hype that I'm putting onto it.
Okay. So I'm Sick Jake. You can find me, fuck Twitter. I'm over in Blue Sky now and pretty active over there. And so are a lot of other people. There's been like a major shift at Blue Sky. It's I'm not going to call it fun, but it's definitely been a nice, more chill social media experience, put it that way. So we're over there. So is Press B. Press B is also still on Twitter, but for me personally, I'm only on Blue Sky now. That's my last social media stand. You just search for pressb.org on Blue Sky, and you'll find myself and Sinistar. Chard, we got to get you hooked up with that domain name as well, but you're there as well.
Put me on the thing, but I'm over there.
As well, in terms of what I'm playing, I've been still playing Dragon's Age Veilguard. Dialogue is kind of and the story is like not gripping me, but the combat's really good. It's like Mass Effect, but Dragon Age. It's pretty solid combat. I'm really digging it. The environments are really pretty. There's definitely a lot of game there, and it feels more focused. I don't feel like it's not like Inquisition where you get lost on the big maps. It's a lot more focused. I'm digging it a lot, so I'm going to play more of that. I'm hoping I don't fall off it because next week Tetris Forever comes out. That's the next compilation from Digital Eclipse. I have to play for that one or buy that one.
Speaking of horror survival games,
Tetris is a scary-ass game. My coworker apparently listens to this podcast once in a while, and she said she agrees with me. That game can be scary, kind of. So at least they agree with me on Sonic. Sonic drowning scene is pretty scary. But no, it's 15 Tetris games from the original one on the Russian Soviet era computer, Electronica 60. They got the Apple ones or Apple II ones are on there. They announced there's some DOS ones, and then of course they got Famicom, NES, SNES. There's Tetris Gaiden, a bunch of them. I love Tetris. It's one of my favorite games. I'm probably gonna do something on the channel with that, like I did with Karateka. But Tetris Forever, I'm looking forward to. I love how they do not just the games, but they always do a reimagined game as well. And they've done one called Tetris Warp. If you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out. It's Tetris, but the style and physics change during gameplay. That looks rad. And plus, they do all the behind-the-scenes interviews and documentary stuff. That's always really good. Digital Eclipse is probably one of my favorite developers right now, just for the game preservation stuff that they do. I'm really looking forward to it. It makes me want to watch the Tetris movie all over again because I like that movie too.
It's a good movie.
So real quick, for Press B to Cancel, you can find us at pressbtocancel.com, Press B to Cancel on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Blue Sky. You can find us wherever you listen to your audio podcast episodes. If you listen somewhere where you don't see us, let me know. I'll make sure we get added there. We're also, should have mentioned this last week with Wolf, but we're also now part of the SuperPod Network, superpodnetwork.com. That's a network, a collective of other gaming podcasts, because shocking, there's a bunch of us, but these guys are really cool. They're a bunch of great shows. We've guested on a few of them. We've had a few of them on our show, and it's a good networking thing that we're doing. Like, it's not competition. We're all just podcasting for a hobby that we all adore. So it's nice to be with a group of similar like-minded individuals. So we're on that network as well. So yeah, I mean, otherwise, we are Press B to Cancel. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.